When somebody approaches me to buy a property and they're looking for a quotation, I always ask them, how much are they spending? And some people ask me straight out, why are you asking that question? Because the same work is involved whether I'm buying a house for 200 grand or for 2 million. And some people may think that question but don't actually ask it. It is true that the work involved in buying one house versus another house, as between prices say 200 grand and a million, is probably the same. So the work may well be the same, but what's different is the potential liability for professional negligence claim. So there's an insurance, a professional negligence insurance possible claim. And clearly, if something goes wrong when I'm acting in a purchase of a €200,000 house, and there was a claim against my professional indemnity insurance, that's bad enough. And it will have knock-on consequences obviously on my insurance for the following year, and I have to report it to the insurer. But if the claim is to do with the €2 million house, for example, that's a different magnitude of value, and in that situation I'm going to have probably a much bigger difficulty in terms of insurance the following year, and I'm going to have a knock-on consequence of an increased premium, perhaps significantly increased. So when you ask me what's your fee for the purchase of a house, and I ask what's the value of the house, the reason I'm asking is not because the work is necessarily different, but because if it goes wrong, the potential claim from an insurance point of view and off my insurance is of a different order of magnitude. Secondly, if you're buying a site, for example, a site in a rural place like this, and it's with or without planning permission, but you're only buying a field and you're hoping to get planning permission to build a house or whatever down the line, you might be paying 10 grand or 20 grand or 50 grand for this site. There's no planning issue or there's no planning considerations for me to check there. There's no BER cert for me to check there. There's no local property tax or NPPR tax for me to be concerned about there. On the other hand, if it's a house, for example, even if the house is only costing 100 grand or 150 grand, I have to do different work, I have to do more work. So as between a site, for example, and a house, even though the two of them may have the same value, I mean, you could pay 100 grand for a site and you could pay 100 grand if you're looking for a house, then the same work doesn't necessarily arise. You could have different work completely between the two. But in the direct comparison between the houses, the reason for the concern about the value of the property you're buying is if there's a potential claim, if the crap hits the fan basically, and if there's a claim against me for professional negligence in the way that I handle or deal with the conveyance, then I have a problem if the house is 200 grand, but I have an even bigger problem if the house is 2 million. So I hope that explains, and I hope that explains why a solicitor may often ask you when you're buying how much you're spending, and it's not that they want to charge you more or get stuck into you. It's to ascertain the potential risk for them from an insurance perspective, because as you understand and as I've explained, the work involved in buying two houses is generally probably of a similar order. Hope you find this video useful, and thanks for subscribing to my channel. Thanks for the comments and the shares and the likes, and if you think this video is useful, I would appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up down below.